Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining NONI Gone Wild. And you can see my first screen here, NONI Knows Speed. So amazing NONI driving really fast. So welcome, everybody. I think we have enough people on this call, and as people join us, that's great. Thank you for taking the time today. Today is going to be an amazing webinar to teach you how to close loans in 5 days or less, and just the expansions that NONI's bringing us with Getting So Wild. So our first screen here talks about our rollout on 9/2, where you can start now, become a commercial business purpose broker, and we'll get into that. So today's agenda, guys, let's start with that I'm Liz Schermerhorn. I'm sure you guys have been to plenty of my webinars, but if you haven't, I've been in the business since the 90s. My love is to come alongside brokers and account executives to train you on how to close loans quickly in the alternative sector, which we call non-QM today. I go back to subprime days, New Century, Fieldstone Mortgage, but my love has always been to take brokers that work in the agency and FHA realm and teach them how to do bigger loans in the alternative markets. So welcome today. So our agenda today is for those of you that have not been to our webinars and don't know theLender and the NONI, today we'll teach you what a NONI is. Also, what the market opportunity is. Do you grasp the non-owner market opportunity? NONI, why it's crucial that you make it part of your long-term business plan. What is DSCR? How do you calculate it? How do you use our amazing calculator? I'd love for you to be a part of that. And what if you don't NONI? What if your rents don't meet that mortgage payment? What then? We still have a loan for you. I'll teach you that. So how to become a super NONI broker, amazing free leads and free appraisals, reduced fees. And then, of course, our huge announcement with NONI Gone Wild, where she's just closing deals in 5 days, and we'll tell you how and why. And then examples of NONI fundings, as I do every month in our webinars, and show you all the big commissions that are being made and how quickly these loans are closing, and great examples of them. So let's get started, guys. Okay, so what is a NONI? So a NONI is a non-owner, no-income loan. It's a simple, innovative DSCR loan. So it's our own proprietary product. We don't sell to your typical Wall Street buyers. Brian Filke, who started up Impact and also runs our non-QM sector, and our company created this proprietary product. So it's designed for business purpose loans, 1 to 4 unit commercial. So I want to make sure you understand when I say commercial and you're becoming a broker that's for business purpose and commercial use, I am not doing warehouses. I'm not doing mixed use. I will be getting into up to 25 units first quarter 2020 is what Brian Filke tells us. So we're so excited to be able to think that we could bring a DSCR NONI product and exceed that 4 unit. But for today, we're 1 to 4 units. There's no income or employment collected on that 1003. So nothing at all. You actually get in trouble for having employment information and income on the 1003. Very different, right? No 4506T transcripts, W-2s, or tax returns. We qualify based on property cash flow. So what's that? Rent. And we'll actually take 100% of rents, which we don't bring up too often, but it's important. Fannie takes 75% of rents. We take 100%. Where do we verify that? We verify that off a 1007 or a rental agreement. Okay, and so you just take that rent, divide it by your mortgage payment. We actually qualify off interest only, tax, insurance, and association. So you divide that, and I'll show you with the calculator how we do that, and that's how you calculate income. So the NONI is it's the easiest non-QM loan in the marketplace. It closes in 5 days or less with no income, no reserves, and now no TRID disclosures. No waiting on ordering your appraisal anymore. It's back to old days. Now, what I want to make sure everybody understands is people say, well, speed, is that good for the consumer? Everything that we're doing is compliant, but these NONI loans are for real estate investors, and they are only for business purpose. So I want to make sure you understand that that's why we have the ability to not prove ATR and to not have TRID disclosures. And everything that we're doing is absolutely compliant and keeping you safe and ourselves safe, and mostly the consumer. So I want to make sure you understand that. Our rates range in the 5% range, which will be hard for you to find with a 680 score to 80 LTV on units on the street. It's an incredible product. What's beautiful about the NONI is that it's not going to clog your processing teams with a ton of bank statements. So although we do bank statements and we do them well, bank statements sometimes take a little longer. We're closing them in 21 to 30 days. So I want to make sure you know that. Okay, so the NONI. Let's go over the non-owner, no-income product. So there are no pricing adjustments for cash out, for units, for interest only, for condos. We allow gift funds. When was the last time you heard that there were gift funds available on non-owners? That's incredible. So we actually don't reduce LTV if they have 5% of their own funds. So if you really thought about this product and they qualify for 80 LTV, if 5% of their own funds, they could have 15% gift funds. So they're coming in with 5 of their own only. We have 3 credit tiers, very, very simple. We go to $3.5 million loan amounts on a no income, no reserve loan. We will do cash out to $2 million. Again, LTVs to 80%. We were out in the field yesterday with one of my reps, Juan Jimenez, and their broker said, you could do 80 LTV, no income, no reserves on units? Absolutely. We go as low as 620 credit scores, and there's no limit on number of finance properties. So I want to make sure you know that. 3-year seasoning on foreclosure, short sale, deed in lieu, and bankruptcy. Some loan mods are not considered housing events. So please make sure that you get a copy of that modification because we may be able to do it. We just closed a 4-unit in Sedona, Arizona with 2 mods in the last 24 months, and we did not consider them a housing event. So make sure that you understand that and get us a copy of the mod agreement. We offer 30-year fix, ARMs, and interest only on these loans, and we also offer soft prepays. So no reserves required if you DSCR at 1%, and we only require that the rent meet the mortgage payment by 1%, not 1.15, not 1.30. So keep that in mind. All right, so are all cash flow programs created equal? I just wanted a chart in front of you for you to look at the difference between the NONI and others. So when you're qualifying DSCR, is your competition using the interest only payment? We do. Sometimes they use start rate, sometimes they use fully indexed payment. Do they qualify off the IO payment? Again, we do. They may not. All competitors are different, but we're very aggressive that way. We will use higher rents than a 1007 if you can prove it via 2 months bank statements. Our DSCR qualification is 1-on-1, 1% versus 115 like the competition. And again, our loan amounts go to $3.5 million, and unleased properties will do to 75 LTV, and I'll show you an example today. Okay, so let's talk about grasping the non-owner market opportunity. So are you and your company setting yourself up for the future? So there's talks in the marketplace of Fannie and Freddie moving away from non-owner loans. So make sure that you have a long-term business plan in place to benefit from that opportunity. Can you imagine the non-owner, especially cash out, that you're going to benefit from Fannie and Freddie possibly removing themselves from the market? Did you know that 45% of California deals are non-owner properties? That's huge. And then approximately 1 in 12 taxpayers, they own on average 2 units. That means a primary and a non-owner. That's a tremendous marketplace for you. Brian Filkey prepared these stats for us. They're beautiful. You can see the growth in non-owner ownership and rentals. You can also see that the percentage of renters per state has grown tremendously. And guys, let's talk about how rents are at an all-time high. So market opportunity for NONI loans versus bank statement loans. I want to start with that we are fabulous at bank statements. We certainly don't take 45 to 60 days. We're at 21 to 30. We love bank statements. We have an early review department. I'm not having you shy away from that. What I want to share is that, we sell what we're accustomed to. Everyone in non-QM sells bank statements. That's great. Continue to do so. But let's add to that platform. How about we look at the opportunity? So there's about approximately 16 million self-employed bank statement borrowers in the U.S. More than 50% of those can use their W-2 income, so they'll qualify in your traditional means. Here's the NONI value proposition. There's 24 million non-owner 1 to 4 units in the United States. So what's that non-owner market opportunity for you? That investors are going to buy, sell, refi, cash out to buy more real estate a lot more often. It's going to give you a lot more recurring revenue. There's a lot more non-owner properties than there are self-employed bank statement deals, and you're going to have recurring loans through that investor channel. So we sell what we know. What Brian wants us to understand is that the marketplace is huge in the non-owner realm. And if you take some time to solicit those with our free leads, you'll find yourself closing a ton of those deals. So I put this together because I think rates are incredibly low, right? Everyone's so excited about all the refis and they're hurrying to lock before those rates go up. So I guess my question is low-hanging fruit the most profitable option for your company and your loan officers? What if I shared with you, and I will today, that the NONI could close faster than your staple products? Do you think that then you would put a business plan around it? I've just put some numbers. I think FHA maybe closes in 21 days or less. It depends who you're sending your loans to. If their rates are super low, they might take long. Agency loans closing 15 to 21 days. Jumbo agency, I truly don't know. NONIs will be closing in 5 days or less, and there's no bank statements and no TRID after what we discussed today. So NONI is not your typical non-QM loan, and it should be a part of your long-term business plan. Why? You get much larger loan amounts. You close in half the time, 10 days or less. You could close 4 times the volume, right? Because you're not clogging those processors. Your loan amounts are twice as big as FHA. And I think, Mr. Broker, your commissions, last time I checked, are based on a percentage of your loan amounts. So let's get you fishing for bigger fish, right? Bigger loan amounts and closing more deals. So one thing that you need to remember is that this product, when rates rise, it's still going to be just as attractive. So you don't have to change your business plan. All right, guys, so let's go into the NONI matrices. That is on theLender.com at the NONI. If you go into the matrices, or if you go into our products at theLender.com, products and rate, you'll see the NONI. On the left, you'll see the NONI DSCR of 1%. That means the rent met that mortgage payment. On the right, it's less than 1%, so that's a true stated loan, right? We're not even qualifying off rents because maybe there are no rents or the rents are lower and they've got to rehab the property to raise those rents or whatever their reason may be. This investor cash flow matrices is beautiful. It's got every LTV restriction. It shares most of our guidelines. It shares that we do need to have trade lines, 2 trade lines that cover a 12-month period. Very, very aggressive. If you think about this product, at least 1 trade has to be active in the last 6 months and at least 1 season for 24 months. That's not a lot to ask. And some of these investors, they don't have deep credit. So I want you to take some time, read this matrices. It's going to make you a lot of money. All right, a rate sheet designed with you in mind. Well, with you becoming a commercial business purpose broker, you are going to be able to change the game. So you're going to be able to make front and back end comp. And I made a little notation because I saved a deal the other day. You can buy your rate down to 5.5 on this product on a 5/1 arm. And I'm talking 680, 80 LTVs. That's a beautiful rate. Our rate sheet's easy. If you look at most of our competition, there's so many ads. It's just very confusing. We make it error-proof for you. You got 1 bucket for loan amount, no reserves, 3 FICOs, 3 rates. Very, very easy. Keep in mind this product is not for fix and flip, so I want to make sure you understand that. We do have a 3-year hard prepay. Who needs to refi out of a 575? These investors aren't going to go file taxes and pay a bunch of taxes. So we do keep you safe. If your investor says, listen, I want to remain fluid and I want to sell my property in a year, we've got a 1-year hard, 2-year soft prepay for a quarter add to rate, putting you at a 5.99 rate. Still very, very aggressive compared to hard money. So when your rent does not cover your ITIA, right, your interest only, taxes and insurance payment, the DSCR is less than 1%. You can take a look here, up to $1.5 million with 6 months reserves. Your rate changes from a 5.75 to a 6875, but I want you to definitely keep in mind that you still have a loan. Please remember that when your rent does not meet your mortgage payment, we do not allow that on first-time investors, and there's a big bullet point there on the right. You can't miss it. Okay, guys, so let's get into the calculator. If you're going to do these NONI loans, you need your AE to immediately send you a NONI calculator, or you go to thelender.com and go into the calculator, the NONI calculator in the NONI toolbox. And it's simple. If you look here on the right, you enter your rate. We entered a 575. We entered an ARM, interest only. When you're interest only, your payment is going to be a lot lower, so it'll be easier for your rent to meet it. You enter your loan amount. One thing that I am going to consistently bring up in this webinar is know, if you're doing a refi, how long this person's owned this property and what their taxes are. Don't just assume it's 1% or 1.25%. You know, I had a guy who owned a property for 20 years and his taxes on a $3 million home were $600 a month. So let's keep that in mind. So know your taxes on a monthly basis, insurance, and HOA. This calculator will show you the ITIA payment. I have an arrow to it. Your 1007, which I have a copy of a 1007 on a deal we did, on the left shows $3,225. Your ITI payment is $3,092. So that means your rents on your 1007 were $3,200. Your interest-only payment on a 525 loan amount on a refi was $3,092. That meant that you exceeded that 1% DSCR. It's that simple to calculate a NONI. Okay, guys, another great example of a loan that's currently in our pipeline getting ready to go to docs. I love this example. This was a 700 credit score, non-owner, 75 LTV cash out. Check out that cash out, $700,000. Okay, there was a huge exception made on this deal, so let's take a look at it. We use the NONI calculator. On the left, you see an obstacle. So the broker was unsure of the rents that were going to come in. He also had a vacant property because we had a borrower that had a mother and father living there, which they've moved out. So we had a strong letter of explanation. Hey, listen, you've got a very kind son who let his parents live there. So we had a vacant property on a 75% on a $1.3 million loan. This is a big loan. I didn't put the loan amount on there, but it's a big loan amount, 1.3. You can see it on the calculator. You can see the obstacle was that this loan at a 575 on an ARM had an ITI payment of $72.65. What was the solution? We were able, this loan was going to go to hard money at a 799 rate at 2 points, okay? We were able to buy the rate down at 3/4 of a point, which is much cheaper than hard money, at a 5.5 rate. So if you take a look at this calculator on the solution side, you'll see that the ITIA payment is $69.85 on a $1.3 million loan. Look at that 1007, shows the rents are $7,000. So beautiful way to solve an issue. We bought a rate down. The lowest you could buy it down is to 5.5, cost 3/4. Hard money would have cost a lot more than that, and the rate would have been $799 on probably a 1-year or a 2-year loan. So I wanted to show you how aggressive NONI is and how great our internal teams are. Brian made an exception for a vacant property because we could see that the property now was completely vacant. Mom and dad moved out and the property is listed to be rented out. That's kind of unheard of to do a 75% cash out on a $1.3 million loan with no income, no reserves. It just doesn't happen often, if at all. So I wanted to show you how we solved this issue. 5.5 rate helped us DSCR. It's a great example. All right, guys, so I'm going to get into a few closings because I do this, and then we're going to go to how exciting it is to become a commercial broker with theLender. So this loan closed in 11 days. It was a $380,000 loan amount. The LTV was 80%. It was a purchase, and it closed at a 575, 5/1 ARM, interest only. It closed in 11 days. The commission was 1.5%, $5,700. Not too shabby for 11 days with very little work. This next one closed in 20 days. It was $384,000. Please remember, all these loans are abiding to TRID, which we will do away with on September 2nd. This is a $384,000 loan, 20% down purchase, 80 LTV. It did DSCR, and the broker made $9,600. Here's a NONI closing in 14 days. Again, with TRID, $920,000 loan amount. LTV was 80%. It was a purchase. It did DSCR at 1%, and the broker made $9,200 with a 1-point comp. Please know that you can make up to 5% on these loans minus our $19.95 underwriting fee. The next deal closed in 17 days. It was $320,000, 75 LTV. It did DSCR. Broker made a point, $3,200. Here's a beautiful example of the new world that we live in, Airbnb. This was a $787 loan amount, 75 LTV, cash out refi on an Airbnb townhouse. Typically, maybe the rents wouldn't cover and DSCR. This did DSCR. This borrower did get a 575 interest only 5-1 ARM. Broker comp was $15,000. All right, guys. So let's get into some exciting stuff. So what is this NONI gone wild? Because she has. That comes to us September 2nd. We've been announcing it. So excited. So we started off with the NONI, right? Low rates, high LTVs, simplified, closing in 14 days or less. And that just wasn't enough for ownership. They thought, or NONI. They thought, let's find out how we can close these loans efficiently, protect the consumer, but also get these deals closed quickly in and out of these loan officers and processors' pipelines. So with NONI gone wild and you becoming a commercial business purpose broker, right? Because these NONIs are business purpose loans. They're not for the consumer. So there'll be no LE. There'll be no 1003, no CD, no good faith, no till. So no more TRID cures for undisclosed fees or waiting time. And what's beautiful is as soon as you quote that with that NONI calculator and your borrower is all in, because they're going to be, it's an incredible rate, the borrower can pay for the appraisal prior to submission. So you can actually submit your rental agreement, your appraisal, and you're all good to go. You don't even need a 1003 on this because we're going to take your 3.2 file, and we have our own proprietary technology, and it just puts it in our system. So another thing that's beautiful is you're going to have the ability to originate loans in states across the country that you're not currently licensed in. Obviously, if you're a loan officer, you need to check with your company, and obviously that broker needs to go through protocol. Your LLC is not required to have an NMLS license, and I'm going to show you in how many states we're going to expand you to. A simplified disclosure process with no waiting period. So we just have to honor a COA. So that means we can close your loans in 3 days if you're ready for it. No more borrower paid versus lender paid. You can charge on the front and the back. So it's exciting. Please remember with NONI, there is one on the back end max. All right, so let's start with that NONI is getting rid of TRID. So no more TRID disclosures. That's going to be amazing. You're going to order that appraisal prior to submission. What else? What other perks are there for becoming a business commercial broker? You will be able to originate in all these states. So all these states listed except for New York, because that's coming soon. And if you pay attention, New York is a huge state for real estate investors. And that's a really, really big state. So that is coming soon for us. We are finishing up our licensing. Another perk of being able to go into these states is you can do cash out in Texas with these business purpose loans. I mean, imagine all the investors in Texas, right? All the non-owners. That's incredible. But if you look, if you're just, say, you're just in California, you're just in Arizona, you're just in Virginia, this is going to give you the ability to go into these links, and it will tell you what you need. Most of them do not require NMLS licensing, which is incredible. So you just register as a foreign corporation. Most of them are registering to do business in that state. It takes 3 to 5 days, and it's a small fee to pay. So very, very exciting. So those are 2 perks to becoming a business commercial broker, and you need to fill that broker package out as soon as possible. Please contact your AE. So here is just a little snapshot of what the benefits are and what our commercial business purpose broker application looks like. I just did side by side first 2 pages. It's a very, very simple application, but we want to make sure that you guys get started as soon as possible. So we really don't want to accept submissions after 9/2 on NONIs and have to put you through TRID disclosures, on and on and on, right? We want you to be able to close these quickly and not have to do TRID, not have to wait on intent to proceed to order an appraisal. All right, guys, so everything NONI, for those of you that are new to my webinars, everything NONI you can check out at the landing page. So you just go to thelender.com and there's some tabs. There's NONI, there's Super NONI. You can go in there and check out all the states that are available. We will have our broker package on this NONI toolbox also. It's not there yet, but you can contact your AE or myself or this webinar email, and we will get one to you as soon as possible. Just make sure you get started and get that application filled out. Know that bank statement, owner-occupied loans, full doc loans, all of that will be under your broker application for your standard deals that are held to TRID. This is going to be an application to do NONIs with no TRID disclosures and out-of-state loans. Perfect. So here were all the reasons on why you should become a commercial business purpose broker. We talked about no TRID. We talked about your LLC not being required to have an NMLS license. So, and you could close loans in states that you haven't been closing in. So guys, one more thing, if you haven't taken advantage, we have a program called the Super NONI. I'd love if you all logged on today, went on to thelender.com, you go to the NONI tab and you click on the Super NONI. It's an incredible benefit. We give you free leads. It's really simple to apply. All you have to do is do 3 non-QM loans currently, not with me, but in the marketplace. You tell us that, we'll get you approved, we'll send you free leads, and a lot of our brokers have picked up some big loans, making some big money with leads we've provided for free. We reduce our underwriting fees by $200. We'll pay for appraisals as long as the loan amount's $500,000. You know, just a little snippet of what may come in the future. If you become a big NONI funder with us, we may consider partnering up and paying for the appraisal prior to submission. So that's exciting. So you have a business partner with the lender. We're giving you free leads, free appraisals, and teaching you how to expand your bandwidth into other states. So your take from today's webinar, this is what I want you to set your mind to. Funding NONI loans in 10 days or less, making it a staple product, signing up to be a Super NONI, filling out our commercial broker package, and reaping all the benefits. Under this new process, guys, if you get the below bullet points that I'm going to go over, I promise you that you can close loans in 5 days to 10 days. Okay, just use the NONI calculator to calculate your rents so you don't misquote. Just because your rent doesn't meet your mortgage payment doesn't mean you can't go under the less than 1%, but you don't want to misquote your client. Call your AE. Call me. I'm here to support all my AEs. Make sure that you check your collateral, right? Let's just make sure that the value's there. Let's check equity. Let's check occupancy. Does your borrower own a primary residence? Maybe they don't. They don't always have to, but they have to show me that they have a history of being a real estate investor. Are they a first-time investor? There's an LTV reduction for that, right? Vacant properties, there's a reduction for that. Watch out your cash out purpose. These are business purpose loans. If this money is going to be used for personal use or primary residence or college for your kids, then this isn't the loan for you. This is only cash out for business purposes, right? Watch your condos. They're max to 75, 70 LTV in Florida. I promise you, if you live by this checklist, this is a very easy loan that you can close in 5 days or less. If you take some time, because I've kind of gone over my time, if you take some time to look over what NONI considers as rate and term, that the competition considers cash out, I really want you to take a look at this webinar. later on, sit down and go through it, because we actually don't consider cash out where a lot of investors do. We consider it rate and term. So recoupment of funds from recent purchase of a subject property is not considered cash out. It's considered rate and term. Property acquired for cash within 6 months prior to application. Again, I'm not going to consider that as cash out. So I want to make sure that you take a look at this list. We're very, very niche-y, and what others consider cash out, we consider rate and term. Incredible niches, guys, that we allow gift funds, that we allow NONI to 20 acres. I don't want any farms. Don't bring me farms. NONI doesn't care how many properties a borrower owns. I had a woman that owned 100. You can still DSCR at 1% on a vacant property with a strong letter of explanation. You saw my example. And then no seasoning on appraised value as long as no more than 20% appreciation the first 6 months. So incredible fun facts and niches with the NONI. One thing to remember is NONI is all about you, growing your business. We don't want to see primary residence loans for the NONI. If you know that somebody is going to occupy that residence, don't send us that product. We don't want to breach ATR. We're here to protect consumers. This is a business purpose loan only. So I want to make sure you just go bank statements if that's what you need to do. Use our NONI diligence checklist and just common sense, right? If a borrower doesn't own a primary and he's buying a home rent, a home that's close to where he rents, works and plays, and looks like he's going to occupy it, we're going to question it, right? So the good news is LOEs work, utility bills work, we're a common sense lender, and we're open-minded. So that's what's beautiful, is LOEs do work again, right, in this new marketplace. Okay, guys, so I'm going to open up to questions. I will say that we are hiring account executives. If we have any competitors, please contact myself, Liz Schimmelhorn. You've got my cell there, or Mike McCarthy. And we would love to talk to you about hiring you as an AE. We pay 50 bits from $1, and that doesn't happen too often. And I'm just going to open up for questions and read them off and share them with everybody so you can learn a little bit more about the NONI. So I'm going to open up some questions, so just give me a second. Thank you for your patience, guys. Okay, so on a 30-year fixed option, is there going to be a potential interest-only fixed option rather than only on an ARM basis? Listen, Brian Filkey is such an innovator of products. He knows that's something we need. We've been talking to him about it. So I say, I don't know that we officially roll it out, but I know that we're talking about it. We understand that there's older individuals in the marketplace, and they want a 30-year fix, and they want to have that IO option. So I don't have it yet, but we're always working on improvement and always looking to serve, every borrower out there. So thank you for your question. Bear with me, guys. I am having a technical difficulty. Here we go. Always, right? For longer holds, that's sometimes a kicker for investors. I'm reading off that same question. Okay, so anybody who wants a recording of this for their realtors, it looks like Trevor will get that out to you immediately. My plan is to start creating webinars for your realtors, because the lender's here not to just ask for business, not to just bring the great product to the table, but we also want to help you fish for it. My expertise is speaking to realtors and training them. I'd love to do that for you, Trevor. So we'll start putting something together in the next few weeks that's specifically catered to the realtors, so you guys can white label it and use it as a presentation out in front of your realtors. So are you going to get into DC? If it's not on the list, I don't know how to answer that, but I promise that we will get back to you with a definitive answer if that's even a thought if we're going there or not. Do you take a hit on a purchase when there is no current occupant? No. So purchases are very different than what I was talking about. That deal was a cash out refi where we had a borrower, we had a investor that had a parent living there. Dad died and he's renting it out now. So that made sense. But on purchases, we go full LTV to 80%. We understand that on a purchase, you could be buying that rental property as a real estate investor, and that's currently an owner occupied for somebody. So of course it's going to be vacant. So don't worry on purchases. Vacant on purchase is okay. We'll take the 1007 rents. Okay, it doesn't seem that I have, will you do the NONI on a B&B? I'm assuming that's a bed and breakfast, right? So we've had a lot of questions in regards to these residential homes being used somewhat in the commercial sector, so rehabilitation centers for addicts, hospice, assisted living facility. We don't have anything like that. Brian's definitely working on something. I will ask him on the bed and breakfast. I don't have a definitive on that, so we will get back to you. Will you be expanding to North Carolina? I don't know that answer, but I will find out. Sometimes there's compliance restrictions. Sometimes there's prepayment penalty issues. I will find out about North Carolina. A lot of tough questions today. So is there seasoning on funds, whether gift funds or not? So we don't verify reserves if you DSCR, but I'm definitely going to verify the gift funds, right? So I'm going to have, your typical Fannie Mae guidelines where we've got a family member gifting those. And I will email you in regards to if those funds have to be seasoned. I would say no on the gift funds. Those don't have to be seasoned, but we do need to know where they're coming from. Okay, so is the broker commercial rollout, no TRID, expansion into other states, is that a firm rollout on September 2nd? It's a firm rollout. And I'm on this webinar, you're recording me, so you can come looking for me if we don't roll it out on 9/2. Sorry, I'm a joker. But yes, 9/2, firm rollout. Foreign national eligibility, 100%. I didn't put that screen up today because I didn't want to have 50 up, but foreign nationals, absolutely, we can do to 65%, $1 million loan amounts. Just understand we're looking for trade lines. So if you've got somebody from Canada, we can use their credit, but most other countries, we cannot. So make sure that they have the alternative credit to prove. On foreign nationals, keep in mind, I'm not going to 80%, going 65%, not going to $3.5 million. We're going max $1 million. Just going through last few questions. All right, it looks like I've answered everything. Guys, just one more thing. Airbnb, huge. VRBO, what's needed? I'm not going to use a purchase Airbnb VRBO rents, right? Because somebody's purchasing it. So I have no history of it. But if somebody's got a refi, they've got a current asset, 12-month look back, homeaway.com is a technology that's used. Some people use old school property managers just to print out for the last 12 months. We average out the nightly rental, divide that by 12, and that's how we're calculating rents. And the rents could be huge. Would single family resident use code as roaming house qualify for NONI? Great question. I don't know the answer, so we'll get that to you soon. At what point would you pay for appraisals up front on super NONI brokerages? I would have to see a substantial amount of deals funded. I know the big bosses, the owners, are looking at giving a concrete number. So I was super excited sharing what the future brings, but I'll get you a number on what that looks like for super NONI brokerages. I would say you probably have to fund at least 10 deals a month, but don't hold me to that. I'll find out. What's the prepay hit if someone pays off the loan? So what's beautiful Sorry, guys, I disappeared for a second. So what is the prepay hit if someone pays off the loan? It's on our matrices. It's 6 months. I think it's 6 months interest. So you can look on the matrices and get that answer there. All right. Somebody's asking about a Venezuelan for foreign nationals. We don't allow that, unfortunately. LTV for foreign nationals, one more time, 65. If I have a cash out refi, but he was not renting out, is that a problem? So again, you saw that example I had on a cash out refi. We need to figure out why it was vacant. If they were rehabbing the property, you have a good LOE, you can substantiate that they've just rehabbed it or they had family living there and now they've listed it for renting. We will go ahead and do that loan and accept the rents off the 1007. All right, guys, so it looks like I've answered most questions. If I have not, because I've gone over my time, I will answer everyone. We had some out of the box, out of the guideline questions. I'll make sure to get those to you. Again, focus on filling out that broker package. I'm excited to bring you into other states, and we're just excited to grow your business and get you some big commissions. And I hope everybody has a fabulous day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.